So can you introduce yourself and tell us why you're running for school board and what makes you qualified to be on the school board?
I'm Rebecca Linden, and thank you for having me. I really love your mission of getting students out to vote and getting them the information they need. Thank you for your service. My undergraduate degree is in mathematics. My graduate degree is in botany. I'm willing to serve on a school board, I hope for the reason everybody is, that I believe in outcomes for students and helping where I can with that. That's what a school is for. It's about students. This would be my third term as a school board trustee. So one of the reasons I'm running again now is there's been a lot of disruption in the school district. We've had less than 1/3 of our board has been on the board for more than 5 years. You know, the research has shown that consistency is really good for schools and really good for student outcomes. We've had 3 superintendents. We've had 2 new assistant superintendents. We've had 3 clerks of court. I really feel that we're in danger of losing some institutional knowledge, and that we overall just need a little bit of consistency in history and people knowing how things run before we, new blood is great. It brings in new ideas, it brings in new thoughts that you might not have thought of. But at the moment we're in right now, historically, I think we do need some people who know why these decisions were made 5 years ago to add to the conversation.
So there has been a lot of recent news about the budget struggles of schools in the Flathead. If elected to the school board, what is your plan to address these issues?
So the first point is, I think I see budgets differently than other people. Other people see budgets as, what can I not afford? What do I have to drop? I see a budget as, what do I want to spend my money on? What's important to me? I really think that whatever happens, we all need to spend our limited financial money on the things that are most important to us, which hopefully for a school is the best outcome for students. Sorry to keep harping on that, but it's what it is. But the other thing of our district, particularly right now, is we need to pass levies. And so I'm going to steal time to talk about that now. Because one of the biggest part of stealing levies is actually educating our public on how school funding works in Montana. So the way it works is the state decides a school needs this much money to function for the size. And they then give us 80% of that money. So when the state says, oh, we're going to put marijuana tax, or we're going to put lottery money into schools, they're talking about that 80%. The other 20% by law is supposed to come from annual levies. And we've been such a responsible school district and so aware of the fact that nobody's got as much money as they need right here, that we haven't gone a long time without running levies at all. We've run about 3 in the past 10 years. And really, the school districts that are most successful are running yearly levies. It's just a normal thing. It's a normal part of your tax. And it doesn't even necessarily raise your taxes with our larger tax base. And actually, often we run a levy and you're still paying less to schools than you were the year before. But the other important thing about it is that all of that 20% is what funds the things that make schools special. That 80% goes towards classes, goes towards the bare minimum of what a school needs. And our district has been remarkably successful with giving more than is required by law. And we'd love to be able to continue to do that. And to do that, we need to pass levies. And I just hope that we can get the word out to our community that that's what's required for a school and that's how it's supposed to be. It's not, that's our only way of getting money. We're not supposed to be spending less than that. It's just what it is.
What do you see as the biggest challenge facing the Kalispell schools, and how do you plan to address this challenge?
You say challenge and I say opportunity. The very idea or concept of what a school is or what it should be is really changing nationally, globally, locally. We have new ideas of, do we want seat time or do we want proficiency? What does proficiency look like? How exciting is all that? Internships as well as classes. Should kids be able to go and work with a person making guitars and call that a class and call that part of school? Should kids be able to follow their own dreams and have an opportunity to do that within the school system? So I think one of the things occurring is how to navigate these changes. If we're really changing our entire concept of what school is, or what school's job is, or what's supposed to happen in school, does it even happen in buildings? I think what we need is to make sure we have that sharp focus on the interest of students throughout the process. I think we need to really navigate very carefully and make sure that every decision a school board makes is always thinking, will this make the students have a better opportunity? Will this make the students have better outcomes? Will this help the students? So I think our biggest opportunity is to really think through some of these big issues of what do we want a school to be.
How will you ensure that student voices and experiences, as well as values, are elevated to the school board when making decisions?
A school exists for students. That is really the purpose of a school, I hope, for everybody and everything, for every reason. So every decision, you really do have to think about this, have the students in mind. I've heard it expressed as, always imagine there's a student sitting in the center of the room, and perhaps all the students sitting in the center of the room. I'm lucky enough to have 2 children in the Kalispell school system, so that means I get to sometimes drive them around and hear the perspectives and things they say when they think there's no adult around. That's an awesome opportunity to really hear what students are thinking or saying. And there's always the usual conduits available to all board members. We do school reports to our meetings once a month. Students come and talk to us and say what's on their mind. And of course, everybody's always welcome to come give public comment. We love it when people come to school board meetings and tell us what they're thinking about, because often we don't know unless we're told. Something might have slipped up. We try to keep everything on the radar, but sometimes things do slip off. We do school visits. Once a month, the entire board goes to each of our 12 buildings and walks through it and talks to teachers, talks to students. That's always fun. One of the interesting things I've found on those school visits is the principals tend to introduce us as, this is the school board, there are bosses' bosses. And I always go to the students and say, actually, we're the ones who make sure that your teachers have, and principals have, what they need to do the best for you. I see that as the school board's mission, is making sure that the teachers have what they need to teach students well. And then there's the fun part of our being a board member, which is the various ceremonies, graduations, pinning moments, games, performances. I go to as many as we can. And again, you do hear students talking, and I always sit in the student section because I like to hide with my white hair. It's really easy to pass for a student. And it's really great to just watch our students excel and celebrate with them.
Flathead Pace Academy, Personalized Academic Career Exploration, and Rising Wolf Charter School are 2 charter school programs coming to the Flathead Valley. Do you think that these programs will be a positive addition to the opportunities for students? If not, why not? And if so, why?
These absolutely will be positive opportunities. These are not replacements. These are additional options. Any opportunity for different types of learning is always a bonus, in my opinion. I really do think that people learn differently, and the more opportunities you offer them, the more different types of opportunities, the better that each kid will find their place. Rising Wolf is doing some interesting things with integrating outdoor education and integrating classes together, saying history and English are naturally allied, both involve reading. Maybe we should be reading historical novels. And in fact, a lot of this work has been done and started before there was a possibility of charter schools added by our legislature. They were working with block programming, saying, let's do 3 weeks and do 2 classes in that time intensively. And so a lot of this started at least 2 years ago due to the principals being rock stars, as I like to say. So this will just be an additional way for some different opportunities to be available to our students. Flathead Pace Academy, I love the way they're saying, let's be more flexible on our schedule. If we're saying students should be able to do internships, when are they going to do internships? If we put our classes as opportunities early in the morning, then they could go to a job or help with family care or whatever else, or go skiing. Oops, probably not supposed to say that, but let the kids have a flexible enough schedule that they can do their bliss and still be succeeding in school. So I think these are students' opportunities or crave. These are opportunities students crave and have asked for, and they're getting them, and I think it's going to be great.
Do you view student mental health and well-being as a major issue for the trustees to address? If not, why not? And if so, how do you plan to address this issue?
A school's major focus is academics and skills that will help these students in the next phases of their life. But that said, no student, no person can work on academics without having a sense of connection and well-being. And my personal view, and this may not be the most normal view, is that you go at mental health as well as directly, you go at it indirectly. To me, the reason we have extracurriculars, the reason we have such a variety of classes, I don't know if you've looked at the course books, but they're 60 pages long, is so that each student can find a place that's a home within a school. Whether that's a teacher, whether that's a classroom or a class, whether that's an extracurricular, whether that's a co-curricular. We want every student to have a place where they feel connected. So to me, a lot of the support we're working on is actually not directly mental health perhaps, but giving enough opportunities that everyone can find some place, some person within the schools that they're comfortable. And I think that goes a great deal towards all of our principals, not just students, frankly. I hope you have a place that you feel is home, that you spend 80% of your time at. And again, sorry to harp on levies, but that is why these levies are so critical, is the high school levy, which is only $1 a month on your, if it's any charge at all. That 20% that I talked about before that the state does not fund, that 20% is the extracurriculars, is the add-on. It's not the basic classwork. So to be able to offer these opportunities to students, that is part of why we need to pass a levy. But we do also have systems of support in the school, more traditional systems of support, if you will. And to me, systems of support are not just for I'm in crisis. They're systems of support there for every student so they don't get into a crisis. It's way easier to solve a problem before you have a problem. And we really do try to do that, but we also do have things in place for when something is unhandleable by a student. And even as adults, I'm sure there are moments that are unhandleable by you, where you need a voice or a person, or so we have, it's really nice that we used to really try to work with one healthcare provider, and now the schools have really moved to a variety of healthcare providers, and again, options. You can see a psychologist during school hours on school grounds, or you can get a referral for outside. There's options for direct support, as well as what I think is really critical is the indirect support.
So this one's a fun question. What is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Interesting you pick on ice cream. One of the interesting things about ice cream is that although it's been shown over and over again to actually have a really low glycemic index and actually be really healthy for you, if you're going to eat a sweet, ice cream is clearly the way that you go. It's been shown to actually help a lot with pre-diabetic conditions, and yet everybody feels it's evil. So go for ice cream, not cake, and if you want to be like me, vanilla with Oreo cookies on it.
Another fun question. What was your favorite subject to study as a student?
I'm a math geek. Sorry, I think when I started college, I was considering going into a physics major, and within 3 months, I switched from physics to math because I realized that physics is explaining the world as it is, which is good work to do. But math, you're inventing a world. What could be more fun than sitting there thinking, how does this work? How does this fit together? What's going to be true? If I imagine that lines aren't parallel, what happens? I mean, what could be more fun than inventing your own world? So I admit it, I'm a math geek. Although I do have to say that my elder child, who's doing college applications, was asked this question, and they said history. They said that history is the hardest class for them, so they learn the most. And unfortunately, I'm not as involved as my child, apparently, because they want the hardest class, I want the fun class.
What was your favorite spot you would go and study as a student?
Again, math and botany geek. I'm not a late night person, unlike many students. So I would get up early in the morning and go sit by a river, on a tree stump at 4 a.m. and all I need is, a pencil and a thought. So I love to be outdoors, and I love to be outdoors by water. I'm a water person. So I tend to spend my very early mornings when there's no one else around, just being able to think, and it's delightful. Or I'm a hermit. Think of it either way you like.
The next fun question is, did you play a musical instrument, and do you still play?
I did. I'm a violinist. I've played since I was 6 or 7. I, at one point in my life, decided performing wasn't fulfilling for me. I enjoy playing for myself. So few people have heard me play. In fact, but we're definitely a musical family. My husband plays the numerous saxophones. I have an entire music room in my house filled with 15 instruments, only 6 of which are saxophones. My elder child plays the French horn and has been invited to play with Glacier Symphony. Come listen May 11th. I'm excited. And my younger child plays the bassoon. So we all play music. We all play music together. I think music is a part of life and should always be a part of life. I hope you sing in your house. Ooh, I should sing a song.
Now just time for your closing remarks.
You asked where to look up information about me. This is a great place to start. I actually think you asked some great questions, so thank you for the opportunity. I do maintain a Facebook page where you can find out a little more about me. I don't spend a lot of time on it because I'm busy working for you guys. I think if you want to know who I am, probably the best place to start is to come to a board meeting. Or listen to them online. They're all the board meetings for the past 3 years. You can go on YouTube and listen to through the school's YouTube channel. Every board member brings something different to the conversation, into the room. And that's why it's so great that we have so many very different people there. I think what I bring is keeping an eye on making sure we're having broad and deep conversations, and we're thinking about unintended consequences, and we're always keeping on the focus of what will this mean for student outcomes. Often it's really easy to say, oh, we can shift these to FTE and and it's financially identical, and it's easy to get caught up in the mechanics and not think about what the repercussions are. So I try to make sure that the board really does have these talks. It really does say, what do we want? And is this decision we're making a path towards the direction we want to go? Are we staying in line with our strategic plan? Are we staying in line with member and student vision? And I think, again, listening to any board meeting and you'll hear that voice. And sometimes it's annoying. Sometimes we keep us up too late talking about these things. And we all want to go to bed. But I really do try to make sure that we really think through every decision before we make it. That's it.